Mhm.
Let's talk about pain, how this has helped several of your patients overcome pain issues.
Well, let me throw in an extra pearl here. My father, who helped pay for my education, supported me, and my mother, who doesn't want to help their parents at any way they can to give back? I basically told my dad, look, Dad, I said, this device is worth it. You're going to get your return on investment. And basically, my mom has been delaying a knee surgery, which she's going to have, but she's already getting some relief for knee pain, shoulder pain. In addition, she has an eye condition, which we just talked about the other day. She's using the goggles now to try to help with the eye condition, and she's having a remarked improvement. Another interesting story was my brother-in-law, who is about my age, in his mid-50s, and he basically also on no medications, doesn't like to take non-steroidals. He had one of his hip surgeries about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he says, wow, I'm recovering pretty quick from this. I might as well get my other one done. And he did. 2 days post-op, he's at home in a recliner, doesn't know what he did. And the same side of the extremity his hip was on, the same knee, felt stiff and locked up, and he had a hard time with flexion and extension. Unbeknownst to me, he calls up my dad. My dad goes over there, hooks up the device on his knee for about a 30-minute treatment at 200 frequency and raise the intensity. He calls me up. He says, dude, what the heck is this device? I said, what do you mean? He says, my pain's gone. No narcotics. And he had hydrocodone at home. He didn't use it. So basically they called me up. I said, why don't you do it about 3 to 5 days in a row for a 30-minute treatment? Maybe you can even do it twice a day.
Right.
4 days later, he said, this is unbelievable. And his pain was totally resolved.
Well, the body itself has a cornucopia of its own medications. It's just you've got to summon them. And as we talked before, the lower frequencies summon the neuropeptides, the higher frequencies bring the endorphins. And what we try to do is we try to put the flame out, the major inflammation, and then we can get down and help the body naturally repair itself. It's amazing. I mean, one of my doctors up in Chicago, Frank Urasek, he's a renowned acupuncturist. He got one of the units a couple of years ago, and he said, do you realize how powerful this is? And I was like, what? He says, well, I've been teaching acupuncture for 30 years, and I have a machine, a $50,000 machine, where I'm able to hit a meridian with a needle, and the electrodes will show the effect it has on the body. And so whenever I use the Denas, it's like acupuncture on steroids. And it's safe. It's safe and effective. The Skinar technology has been out since the early 70s. And there's nobody who has had any health, like any damages or hurt or died from it. There's contraindications like pacemakers, or if somebody has implanted stimulator in their spine, they can disengage the stimulator while they're working on it. And we tell people that with implanted pacemakers not to use it in the first trimester of pregnancy. But other than that, anybody from a newborn to age 100 plus can use the device safely at home.
Well, it's an interesting story. One of my best friends who I grew up with third grade, his wife has a lot of conditions. And I said, look, I mean, she's had sensitivity to medications and rheumatological medications. And I said, go get this device, and you've got to get it. And sure enough, they got it. And 3 days later, they're telling me, because they didn't contact you, like you say, everybody contact because of the child enabled or enabled a function. And he goes, man, we can't get the intensity up. I go, what do you mean? And he's a mechanical engineer, pretty sharp dude. Well, the thing is, it's so safe that he couldn't get up past a frequency of about 5.
Yeah.
And so basically, we were able to adjust that. And then I told him, look, you're going to the movies tonight. Hook her up. While you're at the movies, man, just put her on a frequency for about 30 minutes for some pain relief on her neck. And then when she gets home, you can hook up a 7720 to help her de-stress and go to sleep. And he loved it.
You can carry it with you. I mean, I carry several of them. We travel weekly doing health and wellness expos, and I'll carry them with me on the plane, and I'll have the cable coming off of me, and they're like, what are you doing? And I was like, you ever seen the movie The Matrix? And it's like, yeah. I said, well, I'm re-energizing. And it's like, what? I said, yeah. I said, I'm giving my body what it needs, because in cellular regeneration, you've got to have nutrition, you've got to have hydration, and then you need electricity, you need energy. And so the cells, you were reading about how when the cell loses its energy, then all of a sudden it becomes a stealer and it starts stealing energy from other cells, and it's a domino effect. So, you can just carry it anywhere and traveling. I've got some people that called me the other day. They're going over to Europe, and they said, listen, we're probably going to need 2 units when we get back because our friends over there are going to want it. We're just going to sell them ours and turn back around and get another when we come back.
Well, one of the big key features that I also found attractive for you is that the price is very affordable. There are devices that are cheaper, but don't have as many functions. There are devices that are more expensive, but they don't have many functions. And so you have these already, I believe there are 24 preset programs.
Yeah.
You have the ability to adapt the functions. You have the ability to have a lower functions. You have the ability to do grounding frequencies that people who like to meditate and be grounded to the earth and relax. As just so many, but the unique capabilities which your website shows is the 7710, the 7720 frequencies for anti-stress and insomnia and relaxation, I think are keys where you can get a treatment real quick.
Right.
At whatever frequency, and then you follow that modality to just calm things down, reset and recharge, and then go to bed.
Now, how do you like the screening mode? Do you use the screening mode?
I think the screening mode is a good thing as well, because basically you can screen, you can measure a voltage potential interdifference, and then you can treat it. Now, you also told me that there's a certain time period where you have to go back to see that real change, but it happens instantaneously, but you may not be able to record it like when you were doing the screening.
Right.
That reminds me of one of the movies of Star Trek when they were going around in the hospital settings, and he put that device on a patient who had kidney failure, and he zapped him, and then what? My kidney failure is gone.
Right.
So,
right.
Anyway, that reminded me of that story.
Well, listen, you're in the big state of Texas. Any recommendations for all of your brothers and sisters down in Texas, Katy, Houston area?
I think the key is to be, very open-minded, because, nowadays you're seeing patients that are so interested, doing searches, trying to find devices, and basically whether they're on medications or they're having side effects of medications, this machine has adaptability, integratability to work for everything, for a person, for the self. It's handheld, it's easy, it's lightweight, it's easy to carry around, multifunctional. You get a return on your investment and more. And especially with you being available, some of the differences you pointed out on your programs before about Russia, mail it back, and this, and just working with you and your expertise and your knowledge and your passion for teaching and helping people and trying to make an improvement in their life.
Awesome. Well, listen, we've been trying to get together now for a couple of months, and we finally were able to get our schedules together so we could spend about 20 minutes to bring everybody a little interview with Dr. Solis. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. A lot of times you're on call, so we could never get together because you said, listen, I got to go to hospital, So I appreciate your time. Give my love to your family and say hello to your father and your mother. And we're going to probably schedule a trip down Houston way. I mentioned to you about going down to see the PTSD Foundation down there. So we'll have to get together.
All right, Coach Jimmy. Thank you very much.
All right.
Always good to talk to you.
All right. Thanks, my friend.
Okay.
Blessings.
Good night.
Goodbye.